Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about the one, the only Shiseido, I should know the name, Shiseido Ultimate Sun Protection Lotion. This is SPF 50 plus. I'm not sure why they put the plus. It doesn't have any of the PA ratings, which you would see in like Korean sunscreen. This is Shiseido, so it is Japanese, which is maybe why they put the plus there, but I do find that to be a little misleading, but we'll get into that later. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing today is obviously breaking down this sunscreen. I will tell you all about it. I will tell you about some of the ingredients in it and then kind of my normal pros and cons, and as well as the application of it so you can see what it looks like on. So let's just jump in and get to it. Okay, first up, this is the larger size. So I have the 150 milliliters, which is also 5 fluid ounces. This costs $49 here in the US. You can also get it in 50 milliliters, which is 1.6 fluid ounces, and that is $25. So a little bit more reasonable if you're trying it out and you're not gonna go ham and buy like this full size one like I have. This is available on their website and also in Sephora. That's where I got it. I actually got a little trial size, and that's kind of what made me fall in love. And then I went and bought the full size. I didn't actually realize they had a smaller one, but I'm really happy that I got this one, and I will explain that later. Now, the biggest thing before I get into the pros and cons is I want to tell you about what's called wet force technology, because that is kind of like the differentiating factor between this and every other chemical sunscreen. The thing about wet force technology is, this is from the Shiseido website, it's that the positive ions that are in this formula interact with the negative ions that are in water or perspiration, like sweat, and they combine to create a stronger barrier and more sun protection. There's also something they call heat force technology in it. I say heat force technology really with air quotes, mainly because the wording of it was a little, I don't know, speculative to me. They said there's a heat sensing essence in it. And anytime I hear the word essence, especially with skincare or SPF, I'm kind of like, okay, can you like give me a little bit more details? I need to know like the chemical nature of it. So I take that one with a grain of salt. But the other one, I have noticed that there is actually something to it. So the wet force technology gets a thumbs up. The heat force technology, I wouldn't like buy it just for that. Okay, a little bit about the ingredients. So typically, if it's a skincare product, I will go through the ingredients, especially the top 5. When it comes to SPF formulas are so complicated, and I'm not a cosmetic chemist. While I am a skincare formulator, I do have my own skincare business. Sunscreens are just a different beast, and I'm not afraid to say that I don't know all of the ins and outs of the formula. So typically I just go over the active ingredients and maybe a few of the inactive ingredients if there's anything to mention. So that's what I'm going to do here as well. So they do say that this is reef safe, which I mean, everyone has their own definition of that. Some people consider reef safe to be only mineral sunscreens, while others consider chemical sunscreens that don't have certain UV filters in it to be reef safe. But by the standards put forth by Hawaii, which are somewhat stringent, this one would be considered reef safe. And that just means that they don't put oxybenzone or octinoxate in it. That means the active ingredients in this are avobenzone, homosalate, octosalate, and octocrylene. And it kind of varies. You have everything from 2.3% to 5 and then 10%. But all of those combined are what's going to get you that total SPF number. The ingredient list looks pretty normal for a sunscreen. They do have a lot of ingredients in there that you would typically see. If there are any ingredients that you are sensitive to or you just don't like to have in your sunscreen or skincare, definitely go through there. But I did want to mention that they do have some extracts in there which are supposed to be giving you some skincare benefits, and the extracts that they have in there are pretty interesting. You've got strawberry begonia extract, which I don't know anything about. You also have green tea. Whoa. 3 or 2? 2. You also have green tea extract, which I love. I formulate with that all the time. It's a great ingredient. And you also have what's called Chinese sophora root extract. Okay, we are back. We're going to apply. I'm going to talk through some of the pros and cons, and let's see what it looks like. Okay, so the first thing you're going to notice is it does not have like a white consistency whatsoever. This is kind of a pinkish, pretty liquidy gel formula, and it comes out of the bottle pretty quickly, so be careful. And my number one absolute favorite part of this product is the fact that it is water and sweat resistant. So that is because of the wet force technology that I spoke about before, and this is why I have this sunscreen. This may not be the sunscreen that you need for everything, but for me, the wet force technology that really, normal sunscreen, when you put it on and then say you sweat, you can go like that, or you can maybe even see like the whiteness coming down your face. This doesn't do it. It also blends in absolutely seamlessly, like you can see that. It doesn't take a lot of rubbing, it just goes on invisibly and it sinks in quickly. I'm just adding a little bit more, just so I can talk through this with you. The other thing that I really do like is that it is water resistant or waterproof. And it says that it's waterproof for 80 minutes. And this kind of ties back into the whole sweat proof part of it. It does stand up really well to moisture, whether that be from sweat, humidity, or just actually going in the water. So this is, again, one of those sunscreens that I would have on hand all the time in the summer. Your face is more likely to get wet in the summer from sweat or whatever. I think the next biggest thing that I would bring up is that it's absolutely invisible. This could be used on any skin tone and you would not see a white cast or anything of the sorts. So you can see I've been rubbing it in, but it doesn't take that much. I can show you on my hand. This is it applied and then rubbing it in. It takes nothing. So I think that's really great for all skin types, and I know that a lot of people with darker skin tones have a hard time finding a sunscreen that is going to work for them. Now, Shiseido also says that this sunscreen is reef safe. There's a lot of information out there, some of it is contradictory, but their standard is that it's reef safe because it doesn't have oxybenzone or octinoxate. I can never say that word. It's so hard. I don't know why. So if you want to avoid those, this does have it. And like I said, it would be considered reef safe in places like Hawaii. Now, it's not a mineral sunscreen, but that said, a lot of mineral sunscreens do kind of leave a white cast, especially on darker skin tones. It also has a really smooth and like kind of elegant formulation. So I would compare this, the ease that it goes on and how smooth and supple it makes your skin look, kind of comparable to a lot of the Korean K-beauty sunscreens, which I speak about all the time because I love them so much. So that is another plus for it for sure. So another plus is that it's not irritating around the eyes. Love it, love to see it. So a lot of chemical sunscreens can be irritating around the eye area, which is the most sensitive part of your face. And that's usually because of the active sunscreen filters in it. And this is probably not so irritating because it doesn't have oxybenzone or octinoxate. God, one day I'll get it. And I don't have super sensitive skin, but I have had irritation around the eye, and this one, not an issue at all. Now, the cons, the things that I don't love about it. Now, the first thing I would think of is price. You are going to be paying a lot more for this than some others, especially kind of drugstore ones. For 5 ounces, it's $49, which actually isn't that bad. It's about $10 an ounce. And you can get the smaller size. So if you're just not willing to do the big size, or maybe you only use it a little bit like in the summer, you can get the smaller size, which is $25, which is, I think, a pretty reasonable amount for something that is a high-end brand. Shiseido is a high-end brand. There's just no getting around that. The other sunscreen that I can vouch for that is similar in some ways, not in all, but it's the LaRoche Posay cooling water, I think. I will insert a clip here. And that is $36 for the same amount, which is 5 ounces. The next thing that I am not a huge fan of is the scent. That's not actually true. I actually really enjoyed the scent, but I don't love that it is scented. I don't have sensitive skin, but people that do have sensitive skin or just are sensitive to smells might be sensitive to this. So you just have to know your own skin and see what works for you. If you can get even the smaller trial size, that would be recommended to see if it works. Okay, so we are all done. You have seen me apply it. We've gone through some ingredients, pros and cons, and I just wanted to wrap up my final thoughts. I love this stuff. I have used, this thing, I know you can't feel it or see it, but I probably have about that much left. It's pretty empty, and I will be repurchasing this. Now, me saying that you shouldn't take that lightly. Just knowing that I have so many sunscreens that I'm constantly trying, constantly testing out, and then I have a whole drawer of ones that I've just kind of put away for different reasons. For me to repurchase one, it's a huge deal, a really big deal. And this one I absolutely adore in the summer, especially if you've been here on my channel before. You know that I live in North Carolina. It gets hot, it gets humid. I don't want stuff on my face that I am like just sweating off or rubbing off. So that's why this comes in key. Also, for me as a very active person, I work out a lot, I work around the house, I'm just outside often. I need something that actually works with the heat and the sweat. And 100% this is what I put on if I'm going to work out, if I'm going for a run in the summer. So for those reasons, like for that reason alone, I would repurchase it. But overall, I do find that it's one of the best sunscreens out there, especially when you don't have to worry about any white cast whatsoever, no matter how dark you are. It goes on invisible. And I just, you know, there is something to be said about a name brand like Shiseido, which is, they're just really thoughtful and well formulated. For those reasons, I absolutely love it. And if you're looking for something that's great in the summer, in the heat, sweating, this is it. Okay guys, thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.